Hi, my name is Sky, and this is in response to a Associated Press article written by Ann Flaherty titled Army, Service Must Cut Combat Tours. Um, Top Army officials told the Senate on Tuesday that the Army is under serious strain and must reduce the length of combat tours as soon as possible. Well, yeah, because they started out at about 6 months, and I think with the Marines, God, my old boss mentioned it, but the Marines actually have a certain schedule that they follow that goes for around the world. So when they try to extend the terms of service or the combat tours in the Middle East for the Marines said no, we can't do it because it's basically the whole Marine Corps is tied together. Because it's a smaller, more organized group of service members, and there's like they have a whole schedule set up for like how they're going to rotate people around the world. So the burden fell on the Army, which had the larger numbers. Um, and so initially it was like about 6 months, and they said, okay, well we have to extend it to 9 months, and then 12 months, and then the latest thing was 15 months. And the result is that the strain on families has just been tremendous, which to me is there's another reason for that, and but that's because people are just getting married for sex, or because they got somebody got pregnant and they kind of force it because it just God, there's throughout my military service I just keep seeing these people like in just bad marriages, bad relationships, and it's just like, jeez, man. Um, so, that's just a whole other thing. Um, but the other way that the military is making up for a lack of people is through stop loss, where people who would normally retire or be up for reenlistment and decide, well, I'm not going to reenlist, they're being told, no, you can't do that. You're going to have to stay in for a period of time. And now that's not everybody. That's more certain specific people. And it seems that okay, if you've gone overseas, your chances go up a little bit. If you have a small job within the military, and it's small by mean of numbers, because for the Army in particular, it's basically there's slots available, and however many slots are available is how many slots are there, um, and that controls gaining rank or being promoted, as well as just like how much money the military can spend. Um, but the big reason why this article is coming out now is because um, the military's running out of money. Uh, let's see, Garen, who is the Green or Garen? It must be Green. No, Army Secretary Pete Garen uh, urged Congress to pass a $100 billion war spending bill this spring, contending that the Army will run out of money by July. Um, and the response from Congress is that, well, why don't you guys take money from lesser, or like from other accounts within the Army? Because I mean, the military has huge, budget, um, and that budget goes everywhere. Uh, it's like really the military is a money making machine in a weird way, and I don't just mean that products that are bought by the military, but I mean and the money that comes out of the military. So wherever there's a military base, you're going to find a vibrant community because that's where the service members get their service, their get like services, and food and other things is from the local community. I mean, when you drive around Georgia, there's only like it seems to me like there's only three major cities in Georgia. Everything else is forests. Augusta, Atlanta, and Columbus. And Atlanta because that's the capital. Augusta and Columbus because they both had military bases right next to them. And that was it. It's in fact like the one freeway that it runs south from Atlanta. There's a spur that goes right towards Columbus and right towards the military base, which or Fort Benning. So that's kind of interesting. But the other reason why is because there's a lot of different things that um, there's soldiers all around the country, all around the world who they're assigned to tasks. And some of these tasks they can only do if they have money or have funding. If there's no money or funding, the service members are sitting around. So you have some guy who really knows computers and he's working on a computer network, and they can't do any more because there's no more money for it. So that guy, because he's not combat, trained, and because there's no money to send him overseas, uh, either, or it just doesn't make sense to send him overseas. The guy's just going to sit there and do nothing. Um, so that was kind of something else. And to me, I think just the military from the top down has this big problem of waste. Um, it's like you would see little stickers over light switches say kilowatt, and it's just, oh, turn off the light, when you leave. But there's just all sorts of other things that just really kind of surprised me. I'm just kind of curious if maybe the military, just decided, hey, let's try this green thing, because ultimately that's just more supporting of the local economy and less trash, less emissions, but also it seems that you're taking money, or like some of the costs go down, and also the money tends to be a bit more fluid. So the money goes to more pockets than just like one company. It's like if you go green, you are basically getting a product from the local area. Well, that product was packaged in the local area as well. So ultimately, if I spend $1 on a candy bar from wherever, well, that candy bar was made at this plant. The wrapper was made at this plant, both located within like 100 miles, and so that way, the people within 100 miles of the base benefit from that. So, I mean, that's just like one way to look at it. Rather than get something trucked from some other part of the world. That's just me. And the so Congress is continuing with it's like, oh, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan is being coupled with the problems of well, okay, there's some other things here, but they're talking about how the economy and the housing market's hurting. I'm just kind of curious, what about the gas? So we go to war in Iraq, and it's supposed to be like, oh, hey, gas will be 20 cents a gallon, and here it is at 3 whatever. So I don't know. I'm just, what's really going on here? But to me, what's really interesting is just how the Senate is going back and forth. So Senator Russ Feingold, Democrat of Wisconsin, is putting forth a vote to cut off money for the Iraq War within 120 days, and it's expected to fail. And he did that to, see, according to this article, is saying that Feingold did that to help Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid because he got support for a defense policy bill earlier. And to me, that's just like, okay, so soldiers are dying, families are being torn apart, things are going on in Iraq, and money is a big issue, and these senators are, because of the way Congress is set up, they have to kind of scratch, one person scratches the other back to get support back, but at the same time is, for what? And I'm just curious, like, so how many people have to die? How many soldiers? How many of my brothers and sisters in arms have to die before a more clear-cut, resolute theory about what to do and idea of what to do comes through? Because it just seems really weird to me. And there's talk that by like anti-war groups to spend $20 million trying to convince voters that the Republican Party's support for the war is bad for their wallets. So $20 million trying to tell people the Republicans are leaving this or continuing this war, and yet it seems obvious that, well, Congress doesn't want the war to end. Congress representative of the people, but I mean, it's just really weird. So $20 million on a campaign, it's like, well, can somebody just like write a book and then go on Jon Stewart or Stephen Colbert or on O'Reilly, and say that? But I don't know. This is just, it seems really weird what's going on in the United States.